Have you ever thought about why you are the way that you are? Why do you think the way you think? Why are you good at what you're good at? Why are you not good at what you're not good at? And how come that when you're around different people, they always say the same thing about you, about how you make them feel or what you're good at? Well, the thing is because God created you. As we all know, God had a purpose and a plan for you before you ever knew it. And that means that he gave you things. He gave you gifts, things on the inside of you that come normal to you that don't come normal to other people. Well, I believe those are your spiritual gifts, and we're going to talk about some of those today. Welcome back to another episode of the You, Me, and Jesus podcast. I am so excited to be here with you on the podcast players as well as here on YouTube. If you are enjoying this, I always want to know that you're enjoying it. So make sure you reach out to me on social media, or you can comment here on YouTube to let me know that you are enjoying the podcast on YouTube. So today we're having just a little short episode where we're talking about spiritual gifts, because all month long we are going to be diving into all the different gifts. And today I just want to talk about a couple of them to help you understand some giftings. So a lot of times you will hear people say, I'm trying to figure out my purpose. What is my purpose in life? And one of the things I always like to tell people or help people work through is like, well, before you try to figure out what your whole purpose is, why don't we look at what are you good at? What do you really enjoy doing, right? Like, let's just kind of like write all those things out and then take those things that we kind of write out and let's put them into like categories, right? So I love talking to people. I love being around people. I love speaking and teaching. I just love those types of things, right? But I also love getting people together and all the things. But it also, I love praying for people, being able to just give them Jesus for that period of time that I have them in a way that they may not be used to. And what I started to learn over the years as I started getting a close relationship with God and then connecting with a church that really talked about spiritual gifts is that we all are given a set of gifts. Like before God thrust us into the earth, he equips us with spiritual gifts, and it's up to us to spend time with him, cultivating and understanding who we are, why we are the way that we are, and how he wants us to operate in the world with the way that we are with our giftings. And so one of the first things you're going to want to do before you get into this series is writing out what do you really enjoy doing? What are you good at doing? What do people always tell you that you're good at doing? And then put those things into categories. Okay. And then as we go along in this series, you're going to be able to uncover yourself in some of these areas. Okay. So let's get into it. So one of the first gifts I wrote down here in no particular order is the gift of faith. Now we all have a measure of faith. The Bible talks about how we are to go from faith to faith, glory to glory, meaning that we may start out right here with our faith, and then our faith is going to continue to grow. Now, everybody is given a measure. So some people may be on level 3 with their faith initially, and others may be already on level 7 from birth, from just how God made them. It doesn't make any person better or worse. It just means that everybody has their own measure. So if you're starting out at a level 1 with your faith, and this person is starting out at a 7, more than likely they've got some measure of faith, right? That was given to them, and it can grow and go higher and higher and higher as we operate with God in our faith, right? So for me, I feel like I was given a measure of faith, like a greater measure of faith, because a lot of times people are like, you pray because you believe things and they happen. And I'm always like, okay, and I never really saw myself that way. But the more that kept happening to me, I was like, I think I've got a greater measure of faith than some people. Okay. Now, again, we're going to dive into a lot more of this in the series. So if I'm moving fast, it's because we have more episodes. The second thing I wrote down here is the gift of healing. The Bible does say that we will all be able to lay hands on the sick and see them recover. It also says that we will do greater things than Jesus. Jesus laid hands on the sick, the dead people. He did all the things. And so that means all of us can lay hands on a person, pray, and then God can move through us and to heal a person. But some people are given the gift of healing. And again, that means that some of us will pray and some people get healed. And then others will pray and everybody gets healed. And we're just like, wow, are you the Christ? And they're not. They've just been given a greater measure of healing. Okay. The third thing I wrote down here is the gift of teaching. Now, have you ever think about you'll be at church and one person will preach and you're like, okay, that was a good message. Slow clap. for the message. And then someone else will preach and you'll be like, wow, you could follow them in a way that you've never followed anybody before. You learned, you took notes, you want to go listen to more of their podcasts, you want to take their courses because their way that they teach, well, more than likely, they have got another measure of teaching than some people. And we can all teach a person something. We all can, and we all can grow in that gift. But some people are just given the gifting, the next level gifting of being able to teach. So the next time you're at church and you hear somebody preaching and whatever, you'll be like, oh, you know what? I actually do follow that person a lot better, and for whatever reason. Number 4 is the gift of prophecy. Now listen, yet again, the Bible says that we all shall prophesy. All of us shall prophesy. Now, prophesying does not make us a prophet, right? Prophesy means that we hear God and we say what God says. God is always talking. So all of us should be able to hear what God is saying and say what God is saying because he's always talking. He's always talking to us. But some people are able to hear God on a whole nother level. I know someone who can read social security numbers, addresses, bank account, all the things because they can hear and see God in a way that most of us would never even think of, right? Doesn't make the person better. It just means that they have a level of the gift of prophecy than some of us. Again, everybody's going to have different levels and all the different things. And so it's just really important to know that. The next one, and I have one more after that, is the gift of encouragement. Have you ever just found somebody who every time they say something, it's encouraging, it's always uplifting, and it's just who they are. They just always have something to share that inspires, that encourages, and they are able to encourage everyone. They may not be in agreement with everybody, or they may not whatever with everybody, but they always have something encouraging, some gift of like to be able to give people at that time. That is a greater measure of encouragement, or some people would call it exhortation. And then the last one I wrote down here is the gift of hospitality. Now, every time I think about this gift, I think about Martha Stewart, because Martha Stewart is on an entirely different level with her and how she does what she does. But I want you to also think about that one friend of yours or somebody at church. When you go to their events, you are just like, who did this? You know that person took all day cooking, planning, cleaning, decorating, and they host you in a way that your mama has never even treated you. I'm being dramatic, but they've got this gift to just host you and host people. And it's not like something that they do once in a while. This is who they are all the time. And it's such a welcoming, warm gift. That is the gift of hospitality. Now, all of us can cook a meal, clean a house, and prepare for people to come over. We can all do that. But all of us cannot operate at that level in the gifting unless we were actually gifted that. Now, listen, everybody can grow in every single gift that I talked about here, but we're all given a measure to start with, okay? As you are listening to this series, I want you asking yourself, like, what am I gifted in? Yours, you may have 1, you may have 5, whatever it is. First of all, I want you to write out, like, what are you really good at doing? What do other people say that you're good at doing? And then put those things in categories. And then as you listen to me over this course of the series, this is going to be like a 4-part series or 5-part series. I think it's 4-part series. I want you to like think about like, what is your gifting? And then once you know what that gift is, then it's really important that you begin to seek the Lord on that and how he wants to operate in that gift with you, how he wants to, I don't want to say use you, but you can say how he wants to use you with that, how he wants to use that for the body of Christ, but also for yourself. Okay. So that's it for this episode. We're going to have a lot more diving into each individual gifting as the weeks come along. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel here on You, Me, and Jesus, make sure you hit subscribe and like the video. Thanks so much for watching.